covert government agencies, secret investigations, lights in the sky over California, surveillance in the sky above you. Where could the truth lie? We are dedicated to investigating and documenting all the hidden truths of the unknown. Welcome to the Rare Files Club. Could you be living in a UFO hotspot? Operating in the shadows of the California Central Valley, the Rare Files Club lies right in the middle of an infamous zone of unexplained phenomena known worldwide to ufologists as Triangle Alley. How often does your furry four-legged companion keep you up late into the night, barking or howling at seemingly nothing? What if we told you that, before the internet and modern technology, animals were the key observers in official UFO reports? If you have ever lived in or visited California, you may have been closer to a covert, sinister reality than you may know. California has submitted twice the amount of official UFO reports than any other state, according to the official National Unexplained Flying Object Reporting Center, or NUFORC. What could be the source of these never-ending unexplained lights in the sky? Covert government surveillance, foreign military spycraft. Could it be extraterrestrial beings finally revealing themselves? Some of the cases we will explore today describe human-like figures seen piloting strange aircraft. Is it possible that these beings are not alien at all, but humans from another time? Look over your shoulder. Make sure you are not followed, and let's get ready to explore all the officially recorded evidence of these enigmatic claims emerging from the Golden State. One of the oldest official reports of a flying object actually comes from Sacramento, California, 7 whole years before the Wright brothers would even make the first flight of an aircraft in history. Rare File Case number 0001, Voices in the Sky. In late 1896, the Sacramento Bee, along with the San Francisco Call, published multiple testimonies of Sacramento citizens who described their sightings of a strange craft in the sky above the city. One of the most strange things about this case is the thousands of sightings that came in from Oregon, Washington, Nebraska, Texas, Michigan, and even British Columbia, to name a few. It is believed that this landmark case had over 100,000 witnesses. Reports of a mystery flying airship puzzled the whole world. Remember, this was 1896, a whole 7 years before the Wright brothers invented modern aircraft. As you see here, hot air balloons had already been long established for over 100 years. This means 19th century Americans would have been very familiar with the characteristics of hot air balloon flight. It is to be noted, in the Sacramento Bee front page story, multiple reports specifically described irregular, motorized, or intelligent movement. People standing on the sidewalks at certain points in the city saw, over the housetops, what appeared to be merely an electric arc lamp propelled by some mysterious force, suddenly rising into the air again as if the force was sensible of collision with objects upon the earth. It was even described as a glittering object, careless to maintain a straightforward course. Now, these descriptions alone do not rule out hot air balloons. While hot air balloons cannot be steered, pilots can take advantage of layering wind currents at different heights, which tend to move in different directions. This means that by simply changing altitude, a hot air balloon could in fact change course. Could this maneuver be what Sacramento citizens were trying to describe by stating the light in the sky was seen obeying some mystic touch, and then ascending to a considerable height before taking up again its southwesterly course? Many people desperate for an explanation seem to take comfort in this hot air balloon theory. However, this completely ignores one of the strangest and most compelling parts of this unsolved case, the key testimony of G.C. Snyder. Snyder was the foreman of the electric car company, likely now referred to as the Sacramento Gas and Electric Railway Company. Being a foreman for such a prolific company, Snyder would have been expected to be above average when it comes to being dependable, observant, descriptive, and honest. So it only makes sense G.C. Snyder's statement to the Sacramento Bee contains so many key details that captivated readers nationwide and changed the dynamic of this case to this day. Snyder begins his testimony by saying, "I assure you there is no joke about this matter, so far as I am concerned." He then provides an excellent witness report by providing precise time and location data. 10 minutes before 7 o'clock, I saw a light, which was then above approximately 27th and P Streets, sailing in a southwest direction. Snyder specifically states, "I don't think it was a balloon, for it was going in the southwest, and a heavy wind was blowing from that direction." He then goes on to rule out meteors as well, saying, "It was a white light and was not a star or a meteor. I am certain of that." Now here is where G.C. Snyder's report takes a turn that cannot be explained. Snyder describes the craft changing altitude up and down, as we know other witnesses have already stated. But Snyder is quoted saying, "The unexplained light swayed from right to left as if it were being propelled by some motor power." This statement here goes against the physics of hot air balloon flight, as hot air balloons cannot erratically change direction. We have absolutely no reason to doubt Snyder's testimony throughout his report. So if this is to be taken as truth, it immediately rules out any aircraft that existed to mankind at this point in history. Snyder then goes on to relay the testimony of one of his previous co-workers, Mr. Lowry of Sacramento, who describes a strange feature he witnessed on this aircraft, one which would not reappear to the attention of Americans for almost half a century. Mr. Lowry, another first-hand key witness, gives a testimony more shocking and overlooked than any other. Mr. Lowry states he saw the strange, unexplained aircraft in the sky directly overhead his location. It's no wonder his report of what he saw on this craft was vastly overlooked in his day, seeing as well over 100 years later, society still constantly denies and scoffs at people who claim to experience these phenomena firsthand. Mr. Lowry states, as the mysterious object passed in the sky directly above him, he saw what in the late 1800s he could only describe as a wheel which was going round. A wheel in the sky? What propulsion benefits could a wheel provide high in the sky, away from the ground? Could this wheel he described be not one of traditional propulsion, but one of an extraterrestrial aircraft? Perhaps one of a saucer shape. A wheel we now see usually portrayed as lined with dazzling lights and projecting beams of unknown energy. Could it be that this wheel Mr. Lowry observed was the base of a round-shaped extraterrestrial flying spacecraft? Is it possible that 100,000 people could mistakenly see flying airships years before anyone has ever seen a commercial flight in the sky? At this time, there were no airplanes, helicopters, satellites, or space junk in the sky to be falsely identified. Anything floating in the sky would have been remarkable and groundbreaking to Americans living in the late 1800s. Very strangely, this 1896 case is thought to be closely related to another famous UFO sighting occurring only 5 months later in April of 1897. A report of a strange flying craft crashing to Earth in Texas shocked readers worldwide, and was later investigated by the History Channel in 2 televised episodes in 2005 and 2008. In Aurora, Texas, the Dallas Morning News published a strange report of a UFO with malfunctioning machinery flying low in the sky before colliding with the windmill of Judge James Spencer Proctor and crashing into the ground. One of the most horrifying and eerie things about this landmark UFO case might shock you. It is reported that among the wreckage found of the aircraft, witnesses saw something just as bone-chilling as it was gruesome. Reportedly, laying underneath wrecked ship parts was a highly disfigured and mangled body of the pilot of this doomed aircraft. This pilot would not survive his injuries. The remains were so mangled they had to be roughly pieced back together in an attempt to find an identity. However, a shocking revelation was made when they began to find strange, non-human pieces of flesh. This deceased pilot was not one of this world. What happened next might possibly make this case one of the strangest of all time. For some odd, unknown, and controversial reason, this otherworldly pilot was given a burial with full Christian rites and put to rest in the Aurora Cemetery. When the History Channel sent an investigative crew in 2005, agents from the Mutual UFO Network, or MUFON, actually discovered a strange grave marker in the 19th century cemetery. Traces of heavy metals were detected in the grave, but the History Channel was denied permission to exhume the grave. However, in what seems to be a covert government cover-up, when MUFON returned 3 years later in an attempt to find any further evidence, The strange grave site had completely disappeared. The cryptic headstone vanished, along with any traces of metals under the soil. Could this have been one of the first cases of the government trying to deal with extraterrestrial remains by providing a Christian burial before having to resort to disinformation campaign when the story went public worldwide? Did shadowy, vague, yet menacing agents of an unknown government agency come and secretly remove any evidence before investigators returned? These early reports were made many decades before UFOs would come into popular culture. This was a time before flying saucers and little green men. How could all of these witnesses suddenly make false reports in the same day? There are many theories about these early reports, but where does the truth lie? The enigma of the mystery airship continues. This front-page Sacramento Bee article provided names, locations, and occupations of several other first-hand witnesses who likely were not interviewed or investigated. Sadly, due to the limits of time we currently understand, we cannot go back to further investigate, as much as the investigative community at Rare Files Club may want to. This 1896 phenomenon usually gets reported with incorrect dates, and usually with articles from other newspapers, because the original Sacramento Bee article published the next day is closely guarded behind a paywall. The Sacramento Bee official archive doesn't even seem to be online, but we at Rare Files Club have obtained the digitized publication and preserved it for future research. The file will be hosted on our website, which will be linked in the description.